We got rid of Elliot. We couldn't stand him.
I was gonna say they're gonna say immediately. It's only been 2 weeks and he's gone. It's more or less it's not that. It's just that Elliot can't be asked being on it with us this week.
So he's graduating. Well done. Congratulations.
Yes, graduate. I forgot it was graduation night. You weren't here.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that's a good enough reason though to miss it?
It's not a bad one, really. To be fair, is it?
Just about, innit?
I'll accept that. What are we not accepting? You used to get your hair cut and miss some.
I don't think I've ever missed an extra I'll get my hair cut.
Or hair did.
Yeah, that's different. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that one, but I've not had it cut though. There's no other reason. Do you know what? I feel like it's a good use of my holidays sometimes, isn't it? Otherwise I'll have spare, because I'm not going to take holidays for no reason, so. It's one of that. But anyway. What do you
mean anyway? Like there's anything else to actually talk about?
That's what I mean. So if you've not noticed, I feel looking at the thumbnail and you've seen the title, there's not really much to say about Manchester United right now. There hasn't been much to say.
I'll finish my to-do list
over the past 5 to 6 weeks. Look, he's
get this done.
Do you know what I mean?
Get my diary filled in. What?
It's just. I think Simon Stone did a tweet about an hour ago saying, United hope to get Mbeumo done before.
Whoa, breaking news, Simon.
Breaking news. I've seen that on repeat for 5 weeks. And you know what's proper grinded my gears today? Is you've got these like righteous people coming out criticising United fans that are frustrated. I'm like, come on. That's one of my biggest bugbears, you know.
We're allowed to be annoyed.
Do you know what I mean? I get it. There's got to be, sometimes there's a happy medium as always, but it's all, so you just want United to get swindled, or United need to be strict and it's fine. We don't have it, like, I'm thinking, realistically, the club told Bruno, we don't need to sell you because we've got enough money for this transfer market. So there's number one. Number two was Ineos kind of bigged up this summer transfer window as soon as they came in anyway. Do you know what I mean? Saying this is when the big rebuild's going to start, etc. It's not gone that way. They've ostracised and marginalised the players that they wanted to sell, absolutely destroying their stock and our ability to sell them. And now we're haggling over 5 million or so. I get it being a little bit more stringent in negotiations if you're Manchester United, but there's every chance that as desperation builds, United are going to cave anyway. So what United are going to have done is they would have wasted or spent 6 to 7 weeks negotiating just to pay what Brentford wanted, or more than Brentford wanted anyway. So what was it all for? Do you know what I mean?
Well, they do have to attempt to change the narrative.
Yes, that's true. So unfortunately, United are a bit in it, because I do see it from the side. Is United are in a
proper cake and eating it.
It's a lose-lose situation in a way, because if you cave straight away, then you don't change your perception in the market, which is that United will just pay anything. But if you end up losing out on, you've lost out on Delap already. People might agree with that or not, but that was actually United's first choice striker going into the window, and he lost out on him.
Maybe it wasn't.
It's been reported by pretty much everyone.
No, maybe it wasn't.
And then you've got Matheus Cunha, but then you've got Mbeumo, who you've chased for 6-7 weeks. Have you got a backup plan to him? Because United, if they walked away, which a lot of clubs would do, you could say fair enough, but who do you get of equivalent quality for a similar price, or where do you pivot to?
And
United don't have a backup. Do you think United have a backup plan? Because
chill out, Zach.
I'm not chilled out. Sorry,
you asked me about 8 questions there.
I'm not chilling out.
So I'll answer some of those.
I'm not.
So there's a few things at play here, obviously. I wonder if the leaks have stopped, by and large, because I think the Delap stuff came out not through United. I feel like it came out through Delap and Ipswich and Chelsea. Cunha is as the only deal that we've actually got done. There was no talk. There was a tiny bit of talk, and it was done. We never even got a chance to milk it. Like, we normally have about 5 videos about building up to a player. It was kind of like, I think United are interested in him, and he's done.
Cunha?
Yeah.
That's because Cunha was basically was happy, kind of twerking to come to Manchester United, weren't
But-
he? And it was one of them where we kind of knew he was coming from even before the transfer window started.
But look at the speed and the efficiency of getting it done. Because even though there's been obvious deals in the past, we still longed them out. And we still, like, from a content point of view, got to milk it. Whereas we never even got the chance to do that. It was kind of like a little bit of a rumour, this might be serious, and it was done. And it was done quick. So that's the only evidence that we've got for how they're going to operate in the summer. The same thing sort of happened with Dorgu. It was like, I think United might be looking at Dorgu, and it's done.
It wasn't done that quickly. It was still a couple of weeks. It wasn't done quickly because we had like 1 or 2 bids rejected from Lecce anyway. So that wasn't a quick one.
Where did that come from?
And it wasn't like we was a game. Where did it come from?
Where did the news of that come from? Like, what I'm trying to say is, are United trying to operate more in the shadows, and are United trying to do stuff a bit more low key than we did do under Ed Woodward? Now, there's other angles at play here. One of the angles being, we've clearly gone all in on Mbeumo, and we're probably going to be the ones that have to cave because Brentford are in a relatively strong position with this. With the Mbeumo situation, would it not maybe be preferential for us to seed some rumours that we were in? Because you've gone like, who are we going to get if we don't get Mbeumo? It looks like United have got no options. So would it actually not be beneficial if the club put out there that, as well as Mbeumo, we're looking at X, Y, and Z? Or maybe we was only looking at Mbeumo, we're not really thinking about him. There's not really, like, we've gone from kind of one extreme with Ed Woodward where we were linked with like Salah and Neymar and all these lot to like not really linked to anyone.
It's been reported that United's sole focus has been on Mbeumo. It doesn't look like we've had contingency plans. I think the contingency to the lap was Gyökeres, but Gyökeres was always going to be a bit tough without Champions League football.
But was we ever even in for him? Because like Andy Mitten, that was like, that's not a name that they're talking about around here.
Because that's what he wanted. And then you've also got, then the situation is Mbeumo. United don't have, and the thing is, the longer you wait in the window, those pivot options get snapped up. Even if you look at the likes of Mohamed Kudus or even like Madueke, etc. And then United then find themselves in a position where, or maybe you would say they're operating in the shadows, so they might have a shortlist that you don't know about in terms of backup options to Mbeumo. I don't believe that, because if you're actually trying to have any sort of leverage, or you're trying to work in negotiations, if you kind of put feelers out there that you've got other options other than Mbeumo, that kind of lessens the power that Brentford have in a little bit. That could almost give them a little bit more urgency to get to take the money, because they see that you have alternative plans.
Yeah.
United haven't done that. So,
and that's what I'm saying. That should be something that we consider. And it'd be fantastic for us from a content point of view, because we could dig into some of these other options. Whereas, like, I've genuinely never known it. Like, we are in the dead midpoint of the transfer window. We are 6 weeks in since it opened, and more like 8, 9 since the season ended, and there is legitimately nothing to talk about. Even like Vlahovic getting sacked and like the link to United, non-existent.
I think that could happen.
It could happen, but there's a lot of things could happen. Would it? Is it gonna happen? Like, it's just honestly, like it's so quiet at the moment.
But all right. This is what's funny, because Steve, you should be the one coming on here gloating about, I said the window was going to be like this anyway. I don't know if you said it on camera or not, but I think you've said it in that conversation upstairs or in conversation individually a few weeks before the season ended, saying that you wasn't sure why everyone was so excited about the window and optimistic, because you weren't sure where the money was coming from.
Well, yeah, we did videos where we were like...
And then you were getting a lot of heat for that stance, weren't you?
The PSR we're good PSR wise, but like I didn't think what the actions of the club were doing, like cutting 40 grand for charities, was the actions of a club that was then going to spend 200 million in the summer. It didn't feel like that added up. Now that still could happen, but it could also be the case that we don't spend a load of money come the end of this window as well, or maybe what we do spend is raised by sales. It's like there's so many questions at the club at the moment, and I'm actually looking forward to going on a tour, because you don't necessarily always get an answer, but you can speak to some people at the club in proximity on the tour obviously we'll be with the likes of Laurie and stuff like that on the tour as well, so we'll get a little bit of a tickle about what's going on that maybe he can't write about yet because he can't get it stood up. But like you do get a bit of a closer angle on some of the rumours. I would expect Barada, Wilcox to be out on the tour. And if I spot them, I'm asking them, what's going on? What is really going on? Do we have like other targets we're working on? Now, there's a good chance they don't answer. Or if they do answer, they don't tell me the truth. But I'll feel better for having asked.
And also, I know it's not impossible for deals to get done because these Euro clubs, but those urgency of deals slowed down a little bit once the pre-season tour started.
God, I hope not.
Do you know what I mean? Because that would be a little bit iffy as well. But obviously, if you've seen the whole point of the video, because we are going to speak about United throughout of it, but we quite often know that United aren't operating in a vacuum. That's something that we aren't doing. We have rivals in proxy in terms of Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, City, the big boys, but we are a little bit falling behind them in terms of distance, to the point where we are looking at the likes of Villa, Tottenham and Newcastle, and it can be very easy for you to like make excuses and come on here and be like, well, Newcastle haven't really signed anyone, obviously Alanga, Aston Villa haven't done anything, Spurs haven't done anything, when Spurs have, but it's more so, I think the ambition and the intent that these clubs are showing in comparison to United is the most damning thing than the actual deals being done. I feel like I'm seeing a lot more urgency from these other clubs. And if you look at Newcastle aren't in a great PSR situation. Neither are Villa. I think Spurs are in agreement, which is fine. But it just feels like there's been a bit of a shift in ambition. I know, like, and also our PSR and FFP did come out in the Athletic that it was actually decent, but it was probably a problem of cash flow.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just I just don't see anything happening in this transfer window that's giving me any kind of motivation or any type of hope going into the new season. It just feels like our rivals are trying to improve, showing a bit of intent, showing a little bit of ambition when they've got less to improve than we do, and that's the scariest part, because we always talk about, you know, if we improve by 50% and Newcastle improve by 30%, they're still going to be better than us because we've got more to catch up. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know, if it looks like a tough ride, and it's more so the fact that even if we do get Mbeumo done, which is a great player, and I've been advocating him for so long, United still need quite a bit more than that to bridge the gap. And I don't see how that gets bridged, and I don't see what else we do after Mbeumo with our current situation, and that's what concerns me.
And again, there's not really any rumours of it, isn't there? Yeah. Fika Beeb says, why would they tell a YouTuber, for fuck's sake? Well, they would, and they have. Like in the past when we've been on tour, we've been able to get those insights and conversations. Like you can,
you can have it is
like,
it can happen.
We've been on tours and been briefed the exact same way the press get briefed. And sometimes you think you've just got an exclusive, and then you get on Twitter and you find out that there's 7 other people just already tweeted it the same. But you basically just got the same brief that a lot of the journalists got. Why would they do it? I don't know. Why would they brief any journalist? They see us as you know, maybe not exactly the same, and there's clearly levels and tiers to it, but we're in the same wheelhouse. Like, and that's the top and bottom of it, isn't it? You know, at the moment, I know Rio's going out there. I know if he asks and I'm stood next to him, well, I'm going to fucking earwig, because that's how the game works. And he will ask, because he's a fucking nosy bastard. And he loves the transfers, the same as all of us do. He's a fan. Like, I guarantee the second he gets in there, he'll be like, hey, come here, what's going on? Like, that, because that's how it works.
It's just, it is jarring. Do you know what I mean? And look, S. Madison says to you, Steve, you still happy we didn't sell Bruno? There's been a lot of that coming out as well. Thinking,
it was both the right and wrong thing to do on both levels. It was such
a polarizing topic, wasn't it? It's like,
he doesn't really fit the system, and 100 million would go a long way if he was able to
turn 31.
Yeah, like, and individually, he was fantastic. He was literally player of the year last year, but like, was it maybe to the detriment of the team?
100 mil from Bruno, I don't know what that means. Does people think that can equate to like 3 signings probably? Is it better in the long term? Is it better in the short term? Not really. Is it better in the long term? Maybe.
Possibly.
That it's just there's pros and cons for both sides, because I don't think it's ever easy for a club, especially when they're a bit desperate, to sell their best player. Do you know what I mean? I just think that was one of those where it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
There's a comment there, sorry. Andrew says, cash flow is a bluff. Any deal doesn't mean you have to pay right away. Yeah, mate, but we've got like $1 billion in debt. Like, we've got hundreds of million already on transfers that we haven't paid off yet. So you can say, yeah, you don't have to buy, we wouldn't be paying for Mbeumo next Friday. But when you add that to the credit card bill, to the buying grass seeds for Old Trafford bill, to Luke Shaw's pie bill, when you put all of those things together, it starts to add up. And cash flow is cash flow, regardless of whether it means that you have to pay it right now or it just gets added and drawn out across the contract or whatever. The bottom line is, United are absolutely skint because of the mechanism of the way the Glazers bought the club 20 years ago. That's never been addressed, never been fixed. They haven't paid off the capital. We've paid 1.5 billion. Basically, you could have that brand new stadium this afternoon paid up in cash for nothing to change except that the Glazers didn't buy us 20 years ago. No, it wouldn't cost anyone a single pound, but for the money that they've extracted out of the club over the last 20 years. And the money that they borrowed to buy the club is a debt that the club still holds to this day. Like, cash flow is a problem for Manchester United. I've always thought that. Got half dozen or so super chats here. Let me get through some of these. Sama says, worst case scenario, United sign no one. Does anyone really think we'll finish top half? I would say I think it's possible, but I think it's very unlikely. What do you think?
Top half?
Yeah,
I think United finished top half because we... Look...
One game a week.
That question there is kind of sad, isn't it? If you deep it. And I think what made me deep it was Thingy laughed and walked off behind the camera in terms of Dej. But
Dej, you can fuck off.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But United have got enough quality in the squad, enough talent in the squad. They are United's personnel was better than 15th last season. It was a combination of players not playing well, but also I don't think that the system suited a lot of the players, and it was just a comedy of errors combined. So I think we'll just naturally be better than that anyway. And then you had the likes of Cunha, maybe in Mbeumo, you could probably get another jump, but also you've still got Onana in net. I think your keeper is a huge factor of where you finish in Premier League football, just in football in general. We still wouldn't have a recognised striker that can guarantee you 20 goals. Well, it's just a one game a week thing as well that could work in United's favour. But whether we make use of it or not is a different story. Do you know what I mean? But I think we should finish top half, but I would temper my expectations in terms of top six, etc. And that's even with European football.
BJ says, Hasty, we were broke and Ineos came in. How come we're still broke? I don't even know where to start because I think your understanding is all over the gaff with that. The debt didn't change. They paid a few $100 million. Was it 300 million or something to own a percentage?
They put 300 million into the club.
Oh, no. So they bought about $1 billion's worth, put 300 million in which hasn't touched the bastard sides. And yeah, of course we're still broke.
So what do you? So on this thing, what do you think? It looks likely, very possible that Isak could end up.
What do I think? I think I'm going to finish reading the super chats that I started reading, and then we'll talk about that.
Or is that you just trying to put it off?
No. I want to get through the super chat.
I thought you took a breath and you took a break though, didn't you?
No, I was answering questions. Jay says, ignoring the Southgate point, Ashworth was right all along over these cycling experts. If it's the plan of transfer activity, then Ruben Amorim makes no sense. I'm convinced that if this is the plan of transfer activity, then Ruben Amorim makes no sense. Well, I think what you're saying is you can't appoint a manager, which I think Ratcliffe sort of addressed with Gary Neville, didn't he? You can't appoint a manager and then not give him any tools. But they've currently not really given him any tools.
Yeah, because I mentioned the elephant in the room as well. It's not like, obviously, there's a lot been made of personnel and additions and subtractions of the squad and what impact that will have. But it's not just that needs to improve. Obviously, there's Amorim needs to improve himself. He doesn't just get you didn't get every single player you wanted and 5, 6, 7 players in, so you get off scot free. He's still going to have to
be a level of figuring it out.
Do you know what I mean? There has to be.
Owen says, Ratcliffe honestly feels like he's taken us backwards, honestly. I get the finances are tight, but there are ways to get money in that he doesn't go for. Like what?
I don't know, man. I don't know is just the buzzword for Manchester United in this transfer window.
All right. Rune says, if Amrim gets sacked, do I really think a new manager would stick with 3-4-3? Obviously, get Sancho out, but I prefer to loan others out to see if Ruben stays. You can't hedge your bets like that. You kind of have to go all in with whoever's the manager. You have to. You can't hold back from a guy on the off chance he gets sacked, because then you'll never know if he could have reached his potential or not. You have to go the entire way. Movendon says, am I completely taking it wrong now that I'm thinking John Murta and Ed Woodward was better than these pricks? What? No. May I refer you to the Ten Hag signings just to see how that could possibly be better? No. At all. Neil says, would you walk for Watkins and a prospect centre mid? Would I walk? Watkins and Mbeumo alongside Cunha, 3 Premier League proven forwards, and I think Manchester United could surprise a few people.
What would that be, that surprise?
I don't know.
Exactly. sounds like
it a title challenge?
Sounds like
Absolutely
copium,
not.
but I
Is
guess
it top 2? Absolutely not. Is it top 4? Maybe, with a bit of luck. More likely top 6.
You just got to hope that the European football affects the likes of Spurs, Newcastle and that. But the thing is, they're looking to deepen their squad because they know that. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is with United is United going into a season without European football, hoping to get it next season. You need to build a squad for it, and that's the thing.
Yeah, you can't just build a squad for next season, one game a week. And then when it's Champions League football, you're scrambling again to bolster the squad, because the squad that you have that did all right one game a week might not be good enough once you have to fly around Europe in the midweek. Well, how
as
many
well.
teams do you
mean?
see it from like the bottom half of the table that manage to surge, get a Europa League place,
and then go backwards,
and then absolutely crumble having to play it? Yeah, so
because it affected Brighton. I think Brighton finished
Newcastle at first as well.
Newcastle doing European football, then he took a step back and then a step forward again, and then so it's tough. Do you know what I mean? As I said, the Premier League is now a league where if you stay still, you're basically moving backwards, because the money throughout the league, we talked about, it's so big now. Because even the likes of Everton finished, what was it, 14th last season? Not necessarily a huge club in England. They are a pretty big club, but they can go out and buy Villarreal's top striker, you know what I mean, for 27-30 million. There's no other league in football that can do that, which is why the disparity between the Premier League and other leagues keeps growing. And people usually point to the big teams. That's not the comparison. It's like when you compare the Portuguese league and the Jokeres debate, it's not about the best sides in these leagues, because that's what people use as the yardstick. It's how good the stick is, how good the league is in total, as an average. Do you know what I mean? And the Premier League's average ability in terms of their teams is much, much higher than the rest of Europe.
Owen says, sell a women's team, not great, but work for Chelsea. The problem that United have got, I think, in that sense is when you've got a Todd Boehly who owns him and the consortium own the entirety of Chelsea, they're committed to throwing a load of money in. And Todd Boehly, if nothing else, was committed to throwing money in like I've never... only Roman Abramovich and early doors of the Abu Dhabi takeover have I seen money flung into a club in the manner that Todd Boehly's doing it. Almost reckless. So... he's obviously got the cash and he's trying to balance the books. So them selling their team to themselves for an ungodly amount of money is par for the course for him. What United have got is the Glazers who just want to extract, and Radcliffe who's probably not incentivised because he only owns 27.9% of the club or something like that. Why is it on him to put in all of the extra cash? Meanwhile, the Glazers are just sitting there taking their money out. I see Radcliffe getting so much stick, and I don't know if we're ever going to see the true Radcliffe unless he eventually owns the entirety of the club and he's able to do what he wants with it. there's no business sense whatsoever in him being the one that puts his hand in a pocket when he's sitting there owning a quarter of the club, and these pricks that have raped the club for 20 years don't have to put a hand in the pocket. And meanwhile, he's out here trying to fund stadiums and signings and actually put some money in, like we said, a few hundred million, and they're going, what time does the dividend clear in the bank? You know what I mean? It's such a fucked up situation for our ownership that you've got 3/4 of it that are just take, and one that's trying to actually make something work. And he's the one, because he's the public face of it, he's the one that gets the shit, not ponytail baldy face and a fucking ugly twins that over in Florida. It's a piss take, mate.
They've managed to get their little shield now, innit? It's a nasty situation.
It's a shit show, mate, honestly.
Yeah.
Reece says, any chance to scout Ezekiel Palacios, midfielder? Can have a look. Hackney and Stack, 45 million, then Sales and then Mbeumo after. There's no links to him, though, is it? That's the problem. I like Stack.
Yes, that's the thing, but we're not seeing links. I don't think I've seen enough midfield links, because I don't think we have. Our midfield options is a bit of a concern for the system that we've got. If it was a 3-man midfield, I think we'd be more than fine.
Anon says, why did he buy 28 in the first place then? Because they wouldn't sell him the whole fucking thing, mate. Fucking hell.
Do you know what I mean?
Hard work, some of you lot, honestly.
It's just jarring, and then we just see. Then you're just looking at. It's the worst part of the Mbeumo thing, but it's just worse looking at other teams, just Isak and Ekitike, and then obviously you got João Pedro, and you got Rodrigo possibly going to one of the clubs in England as well. He's looking to look, and we can't be there. And United, if we were ran better the past 5 years, we'd be there. We'd be right there in the mix, be able to sign these players. Do you know what I mean? And we're not. And the issue is, you could be like, other clubs have managed to find diamonds in the rough and hidden gems, but when have United ever shown the capacity to do that? Especially when there's been one major issue at the club for years on end that's not been fixed, and that's a good sporting director. And unfortunately, just got problems all around still.
James says, I thought they were willing to sell the entirety to Qatar. Lads, this information is fucking out there. They weren't happy with the bid, and they didn't submit funds, and the bid might not have actually been as real as the PR around the Qatar bid was making it out to be. Was it the Rain Group say that Jim Ratcliffe's offer was the only actually offer that they fucking received? I'm paraphrasing, but I think it was more or less that was the case.
The Finnish dude?
Oh, the lunatic that was out on Twitter? I think that was about as real as Michael Knighton's.
He come out... No, not him. No, the Finnish dude that come out and said he wants to buy United, but then never did anything, but he seemed like his interest was legit.
My guy here says, we should have gone all or nothing like Qatar. That wasn't an option. Like, honestly. Like, I actually do think we will be in a better situation eventually with him coming on board, and I think there is a mechanism where he takes more and more control away from the Glazers. I just think it's going to take a little bit of time. Richard Singh says Ineos and Glazers are no different. They couldn't be more different, mate. Fucking Radcliffe's at least coming out and talking to people and telling you what the ambitions of the club are, and actually talking about, you know, building a new stadium and investing, and actually said that they want us to go and be successful. What have the Glazers said? Oh, nothing ever. They said, where's my fucking money? Jesus fucking Christ.
Do you know what? This conversation we're having right now, and the animosity involved, and just everyone being tense and on edge, as you seen Steve was when he snapped at me earlier for no reason. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's because we're supporting a football club that we love that's just dying before our very eyes. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, it's a bitter pill. Do you know what I mean? And also, and it's the way you say lights at the end of the tunnel, but I can't fucking see it.
Even with binoculars, it's not a fucking ideal situation.
Even with binoculars, and also the issue is there's like two sides. There's the ultra optimistic side, and there's a really negative side, and they also clash because of the problems but then you can kind of see the pros and cons for either one. Do you know what I mean? So it's just all United is right now is just problems, issues, dread, and then in the fan base it's just discontent and division. I don't think I can find a positive word now.
I don't know how you get out of this. I don't know if it's going to be quick. I don't know if it's going to be easy. I don't know if Ratcliffe is the man to fucking do it, but I do think he's having a go at it. And without there being a benevolent billionaire, of which there's not millions of those kicking about, that was able and willing to try and buy the club, I don't know how you're going to do it. I don't know how you're going to do it.
Sheikh Jassim.
Well, did you see that he was actually at the
Club World Cup? Yeah, he got spotted.
Glenn says Jack Walker bought Blackburn the league in 94-95. All right. Was there a point to what you were saying there, or like we know that? Samir says last season our transfers were good. What happened this season? Why is it so bad? Again, cash flow probably.
And that's your Battery Beers. Has your point in it to why, because it just becomes transfer debt, doesn't it? Because we're still paying off transfers now.
Yeah, people forget how much transfer debt we have. Yeah, we basically haven't really paid for many of our transfers.
And apparently, Hoyland's like a proper bad one in terms of what we still owe. And like, United would need to sell him for way more than £45 million to balance the books.
Yeah, I saw something this week. Someone's trying to set up a campaign for every United fan to put in £1. Right.
We spoke about that before.
Yeah, like, so the study so there's a number going around that United have got like 1.1 billion fans. For starters, the study didn't ask if you support Manchester United. It said, do you recognise Manchester United's logo? And then they didn't ask 1.1 fucking billion people. They extrapolated like a survey of X number of people in a handful of countries. And then they went, based on the amount of people that we polled, we think 1.1 billion people recognise Manchester United's logo on Earth.
So what is this GoFundMe about?
Let me get the narrative out first. So that got repackaged into United have got 1.1 billion fans. And this was like fucking 10, 15 years ago. It was a long time ago, this. It wasn't even that recent a study. But the mechanism of how they arrived at that was an extrapolation on a sample size of data. And the question was, do you recognise this logo? Now, I would put it to you, Liverpool fans recognise the United logo. City fans would recognise the United logo. Arsenal fans would recognise... Do you know what I mean? Like, people recognise the logo. It doesn't mean you support that club. But Manchester United picked it up and ran with it and blasted it all over our commercial partnership pitch decks and stuff like that and acted like we've got 1.1 billion fans. Now, realistically, we've probably got a quarter of that, 200-300 million fans worldwide, something like that. I mean, just looking at the numbers that you have on socials gives you a bit of an indication. We're a big club, probably top 3-4 biggest in the world in terms of being followed, but it's a long way away from 1 billion.
What's stopping a football club? I know, either apart from the optics looking terrible, and probably the tax involved maybe and all sorts, and how it would actually happen, of Manchester United setting up a GoFundMe.
Don't know.
Be like, here's the fear for the fans. They set up a GoFundMe, right?
Buy us a striker.
And you can be like, put in max £5, anyway between that. I think the United fans that see the GoFundMe could raise at least 100 mil, and we can use that to get a couple decent players. Do you reckon a club would never do that though? Probably, but
I think like non-league clubs would, League 2 clubs maybe not for a striker. I think that's a bit. The optics of that aren't great. I think if it was like build us a new main stand or upgrade the changing rooms or something infrastructure based for a club, I think fans would and probably should get involved with something along those lines. But buy us a new striker, pay our tax bill. That's a bit of a fucking mad one, isn't it? So what the angle of this fucking GoFundMe is, or some campaign someone's doing, is get every fan to put £1 in. For starters, you'll never get 1 billion people to put £1 in. Like, I don't even think you can access 1 billion people.
I think we'd get to, I'd say
30 grand.
30 grand, and it would slow down. I don't know. Even half a mil, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it just wouldn't happen. And then, yeah, it's a shit show, isn't it? Right, anyway, let's talk about what's going on here, because let me know, do you want me to do a standalone video on Liverpool? Because I might do one. Looking at what Liverpool have done this summer, because they're on for a madness. From Frimpong to Wirtz.
I wanted to show you something. Yeah, it's like it was a tweet that was hilarious. So someone said, "Where's the money coming from?"
Coutinho money was invested in Bitcoin.
It must have been.
It might have been, yeah.
I don't know, because I know the whole thing of Liverpool spent, I think it was like 20-something million last summer.
What?
Yeah, they spent nothing.
Oh no, it was the summer before, weren't it, when they bought Nunez and all that?
Yes.
Nunez was like 90 million.
Nunez was like, I don't think it was that much either.
Was it not?
Nah, it was less than that. But they haven't really done loads of big money transfers, do you know what I mean, over the course of the last 10 years. They've had a few, but they're usually quite sporadic with it and usually hit on them, don't they? Apart from, I think, Naby Keita and then obviously Darwin Nunez. And they've basically had Champions League football, they're decent in PSR.
Yeah, that's a big flop, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That doesn't get talked about.
Nah, it does get mentioned to him. It does get, it's a stick to beat him with. And also what happens now is they've gone into this window and it seems like they're just able to spend 300 million and be all right. But the issue is, net spend-wise at the end of the window for Liverpool this summer, it won't be anywhere near that, because they actually have a few quite big sellable assets. They're going to sell Diaz and Nunez, right? And they're going to get way over 100 million for them two players. Probably. Off the get-go. How much, by the way, because you might know this a bit more, if does anyone know, what would it do for Liverpool what Real Madrid did when Real Madrid just handed them 10 million so that they could get Trent in earlier? Would that help him a little bit, PSR-wise, Is that like a lump sum that's not really earning more?
I don't want to talk about PSR and fucking FFP and all that. It's a load of bollocks. Yeah. And ultimately, it doesn't matter. What they've done is potentially sign 4, at least on paper, unbelievable signings.
Yes. Yeah.
On top of what was a team that won the title at Atlanta last year. I don't know if there's a lot of cope going into this. And let me know, do you want me to do a standalone video on this? Because I could probably get 10 minutes out of it, I reckon. Looking at how they might line up next season, and would they throw the balance off a little bit with who they've signed, because they are going to look a little bit different. Is their priority going to change? Are they trying to move into a post-Salah world a little bit? And how do they prepare for Van Dijk and Salah moving on eventually? Like, this summer, on the surface of it, is a serious blockbuster statement of a summer. If they get Isak over the line, that's outrageous. Would that be basically, it would be £250 million on 2 players. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before. I think they must know that they're selling 2 players. I think they also, people are forgetting, there was a few early in the window, there were clubs interested in Harvey Elliott for like 30 million. Because like Liverpool. Fucking ignore that. Just talk about what the team is that they're building, because I'm fucking bored of the nonsense. Yeah. Talk about the 11 they're building. I'm kind of sad when I do that though. Right, let's try and find an angle to cope. Are they going to fuck it up? I'm hoping so. Are these all too good to work? Yes, and I'm hoping that Salah gets pissed off and it gets discontention when he doesn't get all the limelight, maybe. We're hoping that Van Dijk finally ages and falls off, because he's not what he once was, but because he was so good, which Steve will hate, he was still good enough to be really good. Do you get me? And then... But it's not just about Liverpool, though, anyway. Obviously, that I've put Newcastle on the thumbnail as well, because they're kind of the ones that we were worried about once they got the Saudi money. Of could they become a bit of a challenger, because United are in this rebuilding phase. Red card, do you know what I mean? Of kind of barging us, show the barging us a bit in terms of the big 6 for the next few years. So... we need to be worrying about the big 10, let alone the big 6. And they're looking to get Ekitike.
They've obviously, which is to replace Isak, which is almost like for like in a way. Obviously, it's a player that they've chased for a few years now. It's just sad, really. And then obviously City have unlimited money anyway, so if they fail one or slightly underperform one window, they're just going to spend 300 million every window until they get it right anyway, and they'll be unopposed with that. Obviously, you've seen that they signed a £1 billion Puma sponsorship deal. Then you got Chelsea, who people have said for a while, Steve's another one. You've said Chelsea eventually are going to get it right in it because of the amount of money they're spending.
Just too many good players.
Too many good players. So it's just once it's going to click for them. Once they click, it's going to be a big one where they're scary. Do you know what I mean? And that's just the way it's going to be. And unfortunately, Arsenal, I think they've set their club up in a way where they're going to be there or thereabouts for the next few years. Do you know what I mean? Because they dealt with their rebuild a lot more cleverly than United have. Do you know what I mean? They built a young team. They kicked out all the big earners that were quite old. They've had one of the youngest teams over the past few years, so they're all going to be peaking at the right time. So it's
Madison
just
says
just
Chelsea
peak.
finished 12th 2 seasons ago, by the way. Yeah, and spent about 2 billion since then. But you spend 100 million on 20 players, 100 million 20 times. You get some good players in. You can make so many mistakes spending the amount of money that they've spent. And they will have made mistakes, but they've also signed some outrageous players.
Do you know what? You know what's the worst part? We've got this cope here that we're hoping that Liverpool fuck this up somehow. The issue is, we mentioned earlier, United have had a problem in the recruitment and the sporting director department for a decade, and it's not been fixed. And all the clubs that are doing well have one that's established. Liverpool have Michael Edwards, who has a really, 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 really good resume right as of now. So you talk about that they're going to lose Kanate and Van Dijk eventually and Salah. How do you know that he doesn't get the replacements bang on anyway? And that's my issue with possibly losing out on Mbeumo this summer, because I think he could end up in Scousland next summer if we don't. Where they've just basically cloned Salah but 6 years younger. I don't know what are you laughing at, by the way? He's been doing that the whole time.
They've won the Club World Cup,
mean?
which is basically like a glorified Audi Cup. And now it's literally a pre-season tournament. Like, yes, you got 100 million for winning it. Well done. So Deji behind the camera as a Chelsea fan.
We could have done with that.
We could have done with that. But you have to be good to qualify for it. Or into Miami.
And
we are neither of those things.
What do you think about United getting like 20 million this summer as well from sell-ons? Because Oyedele's gone to Strasbourg now as well. Players that weren't good enough for us. We've had a left back that we could go to Real Madrid. That's interesting.
There's a lot of players leaving us and going higher in the league.
Yes. Alanga's a £55 million player all of a sudden. And everyone's like, all right, why can't we sell Garnacho for that then? I've seen a lot of that, by the way. When I've seen Alanga...
Because one's just done well at a club and's got a really good attitude.
One's been booted out.
Widge.
One can't... You're comparing those deals to players that can't turn up to the training ground at Carrington when Amorim's there. Do you know what I mean? They're literally not allowed to turn up until Amorim's gone. What leverage do you have to get 55 million for the likes of Garnacho, etc., if the clubs put it out there that they don't want him and he can't even train with the team? It's the same with Sancho. I think Laurie Whitwell's come out and said, which every smart club would say, that they're all just going to hold out until the last 2 weeks of the window and be like...
Oh, last day of the window.
Last day of the window. And then United have to say yes
Here's
to anything.
Here's a fucking 2-for-1 voucher for Alton Towers. Give us Garnacho.
If Garnacho's still here with two days left in a window, a club's just going to come and say, here's 10 million. Take it or leave it.
Bastards.
Hey, listen, I think we've got more pain to come, people. We just got to see whether we come out on the other side.
Yeah. Oh, super chat there. Let's just wrap it up on this one. It says, don't worry, lads. As long as the real fans can get their beer and pie on match day, then all is well. Lyon, AC Milan, etc. all go at their owners, but ours just want to piss up over the weekend. Ineos. I don't know what you're on about, mate. Are you advocating that people just go and initiate violence? Because that's a crime. We can sit here and joke as much as we want, but like, what are you actually saying? And why are you... This is what I don't understand, right? My guy here, getting dead mad, spending a tenner to put a super chat in like that. What's stopping you?
I think he's just saying that those clubs are a lot more vocal and angrier and more aggressive and passionate. But I don't know. I think I have no ideas.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. You know what I mean? On one hand, you saw the protests about the European Super League. Was you there? Did you have a hand in that? If you weren't, you shut the fuck up then, don't you? You know, and if you've got the opportunity to go and make any impact, why are you fucking gobbing off on a YouTube channel and not actually going fucking doing it?
Well, that's one way to say thanks for the tenner, I guess.
Our YouTube's at 40%. It's fucking £6 at best. Anyway. Yeah, here's the thing. You can say storm the pitch, right? You can. One, I'm on tier 2. I'm not getting down there. And two, all that happens is people get a football banning order and don't get to go to the fucking game anymore. Like, John says, Steve, the TRT is making you angry. Factually, the TRT makes me less angry, right? What makes me angry is fuckwits, right? And there are an absolute metric fuck ton of fuckwits in the chat today. Why don't you just fucking... What was he even fucking suggesting? Go at the owners. Where do they live? Do you know where they live? Fly me to Florida and I'll go and have a lovely little conversation with them if you want. Why are people so quick to demand other people do stuff that they want? Or some of the, like, what was the fucking other one, man? What was the other one earlier? Oh, there's been so many of you absolute fucking dildos in the chat today. It actually makes me annoyed that I can't actually talk to. There's a lot of good people in the comments that I really fucking enjoy talking to, and I end up having to reply to fuckwits. Anyway,
are dildos necessarily a bad thing?
No, but you wouldn't want to be one, would you?
Probably gets more action than me.
Valid.
Right. That's a lie, by the way. Now it's awkward. All right, let's we'll end it there.
Let us know in the comments on a scale of 1 to 10 how much action's Ronaldo getting and why is it 1.
All right, see you later.
It's all right. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.